Hi, Internet viewers. Frank Rauscher again. We're back at it on, I was going to say goldfinch. It's the sandpiper. Starting to lose it. We were working on the breast area on the last video, and we, at least for the ones that were doing what I was doing, because you could have burnt these in. That's another option. But we lifted these and then we stoned them, and it gets a look like this. I hope you could see this well. And it really comes out neat, I think. Okay, so this is my choice. And we did the whole complete thing, okay? And what we did stoning with a carbon silicate 200 grit bit, which looks like this. And it has a flat top. This is tapered a little bit, but you can get a barrel shape, just straight out. It's the end. You're texturing on a 45-degree angle, and you're going to the left and to the right, flaring out on each one, and you're going beyond the limits of the feather on the bottom when you're texturing. So I just want to let you know that. The other thing that I hope you all did, you got two choices. I use a rotary brush, which is a horsehair brush, not brass or anything else, because if you do, it'll beat the hell out of the wood. And this, you want to run at half speed and then dust this all out and take a look at it again, because where you think you've gotten everything, you may have missed something. So this cleans it up, and it'll also clean up in the burn area, because a lot of dust gets traveling and it gets into the burn area. So you can clean that up too. We will use this to finalize and seal it, or clean it before we seal it, I should say. So I just want to give you some tips on that end of it, as far as doing the right thing as far as cleaning it up. But you definitely, when you brush it out. Now, for those who don't have one, you can get an old toothbrush and just do this. And then take a look at your work, because when you think you're done, you may not be. You may have missed a spot or two. And the easy part about this is when you're texturing, you're stroking almost blindly, even though you know where you're at. The light is hitting a certain way, and it doesn't give you the full look of what's happening on that surface in that area. So, and then the dust also piles up a little bit, so you can brush that out, and then you can really see what you have and what you don't have. And you need to get texture on every square inch of the rump area here, okay, right on down, or I should say the breast area into the rump area. So just trying to give you some tips, because you can easily miss on it. And I find that out a lot, even when I'm just roughing out and I'm rolling things. The light tends to hit off the wood, and it looks good, and you think you got everything sanded or something like that, and it's nice and smooth, when it's not. You got to really look closely. So I always fall back on what's the best way to show things. And the other thing I use that you don't see on screen half the time is these optimizers. I have them with lights and extra magnification. This is a fixed lens here, but I have other ones that have like 3 lenses and a loupe on it and a light. If anybody's interested in these, they're really neat, and they help with the light to put more light on your subject, right on the spot. And they're kind of neat, and they're not that expensive at all. So anybody's interested in that, as I get older, not saying that I can't see that great. I can see it pretty good, but the magnification just makes things so much easier, and I can see so much more. Just a tip, okay? So maybe some of you guys have real sharp eyes and you don't need all that stuff. But I've been using it for way back when, so it's been a while, and everything helps, to make things easier. That's the reason why I make these suggestions. The other thing I want to state also for you is if you like my videos, I would ask you to give me a thumbs up. And also, if you could subscribe to my channel, that would really be, I really appreciate that because it helps in my count on YouTube for just building my channel up, okay, and trying to get more. If you have friends that may be interested, if you could pass my information on about my channel, I'd appreciate that too. That helps me grow. And you guys are sort of like my ambassadors to push me on if you like what I have, okay? So can't say that I satisfy everybody, but I try to do the best I can. I've been teaching, I've been carving, let's put it this way, for about 50 years. I do power carving for about 30 years or something, give or take. And I've ran classes for like 4 classes a week at one time up until the virus hit, and then I rethought things, and now I'm on YouTube. But if anybody's interested in what I'm doing, and if you're looking for a blank, a pattern, the feet, the eyes, whatever, I have a kit that gives you everything that you need to follow along with the video and do the project. And I'll even show you how to paint it, mount it, what's the best way, different ways of, I sometimes teach, and I do have some videos out there on how to make your own feet and so on. So I just want to give you a heads up. There's a lot of videos out there, even on wood burning. I do flat art, wood burning, and I have videos on that. And if you need anything, I have a catalog. It's about a 5 or 6 page catalog. Doesn't show everything I have, but it gives you a lot of what I use here. And if there's stuff you're looking for that you can't seem to get a hold of, I usually have it. Most of the stuff that I use, I sell. So, and I'll recommend things to you and what to get and what not to get. And if you have something already, don't go buying things you don't need until you're ready to move on, you know? So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. And if you want to get my catalog, I would ask you to write to me. It's Rauscher, RAUSCHER, Frank, FRANK, 7@gmail.com. Request a catalog. I'll send that out to you through the email, and you can peruse over it. My telephone number is on there, as well as my email. If you want to talk about it or get some information from me about it, I'm wide open for it. As I teach, I also ask for comments. If you are in question about something, if you don't want to talk to me on the phone, you can also email me and put it in the comments section of the video, or you can just email me and give me a comment. And if you send some pictures sometimes, I'll take a look and see and try to critique what you've done as well. So I'm just here to try to advance you to get better. So just want to let you know that. Now that I gave you the commercial, I'm going to, today we're going to set the eyes for the sandpiper. And I want to give you a heads up on that. So if you will if you give me a second, I'm going to move the camera down so that you can see what I'm trying to achieve here. And then we'll move on and we'll get the eyes in, which is one more step in getting us really close to almost priming this so that we can start painting. And then the fun begins again, just like everything else. So we're just about done the detailing of everything on here now. And if you've gotten all the steps that I have up to this video here, we should get you flying pretty soon. Or at least I'll show you different ways of mounting the bird, because I have some on sand, I have some on what they call like pebbles, and I'll show you how to create that too. So I'll give you ideas. and just not run-of-the-mill stuff. But I'll leave it up to you. You know, you have some creativity of your own, and I go for it. You know what I mean? You can try different settings and whatever pleases your eye. So bear with me, and I'll take you down, and we'll start putting the eyes in. Okay, we're back again. And like I said, I hope you can see this well as far as the texturing. I'm panning this around. You try to get rid of all the channel edges, and then you stone it through. And it's like a fanning effect. Start at the middle of the C and go out to the right, to the left, and then the right, and so on. You do that all the way down, okay? And if you have some high points that seem where you may have gone a little deeper, you can always come back and stone that a little bit more to sort of level it with everything else you have there. So I think that should complete it. And this is what I was trying to show you, where these look like they lay over on top of the wing feathers here, okay? So that's why I lifted this before, so these were lower and the breast feathers were coming up over it, and that makes it good look. Makes it as if like the breast feathers are fluffy. So now what I'm going to use to set the eye, I'm going to use a glass eye. It's a 6mm, and the way we do it is I put this eye in backwards, okay? Generally, the dome is on the outside looking at us because it has the pupil and everything else. But to set this, I'm going to ask you to lay the eye on here. Now, what happens is we only made, I forget, like a 4 or 5mm eye hole in there originally. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make this fit. I'm getting this in its former life was a ruby ball that acts like a burnisher. I just go in and it burns its way through now. It has some grit, but it's lost a lot of it. But I like this because what I do is, well, to start out with, what we're trying to achieve, the back of the eye is flat, and when you set that in that hole straight in, it should be flat across the surface, and that's when you know you have it deep enough. Right now you can see, if I just lay this on here now and try to get this flat, it's really up off the surface of the bird's head here. So I'm going to drill the whole opening a little bigger each time, and then we'll fit it so that the eye just fits right in there, okay, and not too deep, okay? Now, the other thing I'm going to use too is quickwood, and if you need any of this, I have this as well. What we're going to do on this is an epoxy putty. It works like this. It comes in a real long, this is like about an 8-inch tube or something like that. And you only need a little bit. So I cut a small segment of it. It has 2 different epoxies on each side. And what you do is you cut it and then knead it with your fingers. And then there's like a chemical reaction that goes on, and you can fit it, and I'll show you, we'll fit it into the eye. But you don't want to get a lot of this because you don't need a lot. And if you're working one eye and you're spending a lot of time, it's better to have a little less because you don't have to throw away as much, because this will set up in about 15 minutes. And you can preserve this. And in case you ever take too much wood out, that's why it's called quickwood, you could go in, and if you took too much out, you could actually fill things back in, and this would replace wood. Okay, so the only trouble is when you go to burn, you don't get the burning effect like this. And because it's not an epoxy, it tends to burn with a lot less heat. So you got to be very careful when you're burning epoxy, not to torch it, or you have to have a lighter temperature than what the wood burning was taking place. Okay, so you got to lower the temperature when you're using epoxy to texture around it. Okay, so I want to give you a heads up on that. So to start, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my Optivisor, which you guys don't see, and I'm going to put that on so it aids me in seeing well. And then what I'm going to do is I'm getting my ruby ball, and I'm getting that in there. Now I'm running it at full speed always, and that's it. It could be, your machine could be 35,000 or 45,000, whatever. There's all different speeds, but you want it as full out as you can get. I'm going to go in because I know this eye is just too small. I'm going to try to come in and get the ball in the hole and then go around completely as best I can to open up that hole. And I'm going inside a little bit, but I'm more or less trying to widen it using the middle of the ball on the end here. But then I got to push in a little bit too, because the ball has a dome and we have to accommodate that. So I did a little bit of that. I'm going to come up here and I put the eye in. That's just about what I want. See, this ball, or I should say this eye, is almost flat right across here. Now, I'll show you what happens on the other side. It's so perfect, I can't get it out. So let me just go in a little bit. Be careful, and it pops out. Just to show you what it looked like before we started, is I'm going to put it on the other side, and I'm going to get this centered. And you can see, I hope you can anyway, that this is really raised, and a lot of this eye has to go into, recessed into that hole. So what we do is we massage the hole, and I get this, and I slide it over. Now, the other thing you need to do is, before we plug this in with putty, you want to make sure that it fits in there, which it doesn't always want to just drop right in there. There, that's pretty close, okay? So it looks pretty good. Now the back side, like I said, should be flush. That's the real keeper. Now, here we go with the putty. And like I said, I don't use a lot in the beginning. Even if I have to do it a second time for the other eye, I got 15 minutes to work this, and it starts setting up. And I mean, it sets up. So don't be, don't get carried away using a lot. You don't need a lot. I'm going to cut this on an angle. I don't know if you're seeing it here or not, but I'm just going to come in with an X-Acto knife and cut a little bit, like on a wedge. Now, that's not much, and you can see it. And what happens is, between this one and this one getting kneaded, it starts to activate it. And you got about 15 minutes after you massage this to get it to work really good. Okay, and you don't want to spend too much time doing this, and then always keep your lid on your main product here, okay? And I try to knead this so that it becomes one color, okay? And don't get too carried away with it. And this is enough to do both eyes, but I'm not saying we're going to get there with this, okay? So, because I think we have to work a little bit to shape the eye. If we get lucky, we'll get there. Now, I usually try to keep some water around sometime to dip my fingers in, just to keep this a little maneuverable. So I will, boy, talk about a little water. I only have a little water, so I keep a little cup of water just to keep my fingers wet. But and then I use this. Now I'm going to get about a BB size, okay, something like about that big. And yeah, I hope I did this side. Hang on. Yeah, this is the side opened up. Right. Okay. It's so good it wants to stay in there, but that doesn't do it. It's not the right position. We'll get it out. That means I got a good fit. There we go. Now, I'm going to get this and drop it in there. Push it in. Okay, like that. That was only like a BB size. Now I'm going to pick up the glass eye, and the dome side is facing out, which has the pupil and everything else. So there we are. Now, let's hope I did this right. I'm going to come in with my pencil on the back end. The eraser is perfect for this. Well, maybe not that pencil, but I have another one around here. There we go. I'll use this eraser. I'm going to push in. You know what? I'm going to use a little more putty. I need that to ooze out. I had just enough to accept that. So what I'm going to do is just take a little bit more. Not a lot. I'll plug it in there. Because we have to do some massaging outside the eye here. And I'd rather keep the putty that's in there softened somewhat. So here we are. I almost filled that whole thing up right to the top. Now I'm going to get this, come right over to the center of the eye where it's supposed to go in. I'll push it in by hand a little bit. And then I'm going to push like heck to get that eye in there. Okay. Now, if you notice, this oozes out. So all I'm going to do now is just tap that down with my pencil. Okay. You could use this with a pick or something like that. I want to see how far out the eye is. It may have to go in deeper. So I'm looking at it, and it's still sticking out some. So I'm going to push a little bit more. Okay. And then I can get my finger or something like that. Wet it. Just come in here and press down around here. I see that the putty didn't come out on the bottom side of this, so I'll add a little bit. I'm going to try to get a ring around the eye, if that's possible. So I need the excess here. Now, to open up to maximum scope of the eye, I come in with the pencil, which I find works out really nice and allows me to open up the eye and get the putty off so that I can get maximum exposure of the eye. And we sort of push the material around so that we got the eye exposed like that. Now, this has a split between the top and the bottom. I'm going to get my pencil point wet so it doesn't stick to this. I'm going to come in here and aim towards the middle of the bill, like this. And I'm going to go out the back side, same way. Want that a little bit. And then I come in And I come out the back side like that, okay? And it puts a split in the material from top to bottom. Now, I'm going to get my X-Acto knife, and I'm going to come in, I'm going to use like the back side of this, and I'm just going to take some material away. Hope you can see this well. And I'm just trying to take material away as we go. Looks like I don't have to do too much to this, because it's just the right amount. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes you can have a lot more putty coming off. I think on the bottom here, I'll end up with more right here, see? And it starts moving on you sometimes too, so you may have to get excess putty off of there. So I'll do it this way. Okay, that looks pretty good right there, okay? Now, what you want to do is not get your best brush, but you want to get a cheap brush, because what I want to do is wet the brush, take the excess water off, and then come in and just brush that smooth, okay? And if there's any little remnant hanging around, like this guy right here, I don't know if you can see that or not, I take that off, and then I smooth the whole eye. Now there's something that popped off. I want that back one. So that little bit right there came right off at this corner over here. So I'll just push that in and sort of massage it right up into there. That's why I say sometimes you got to play with this. And sometimes it just goes. Now, I'm going to use the back of my brush here just to tap that in there. And then we'll come with the pencil again. Come through there and then clean this up right here. Okay. So now I'm getting my wet brush and I'm just gently smoothing this all out. And it shouldn't move. If it does, then you got to start over again. Okay. But that looks pretty good. And that's what we're trying to achieve. It has like a brow at the top and a brow on the bottom. And if it doesn't get smoothed out, you can just rake your brush. See, I'm starting to pick it up a little bit. So what I'll do on the back end is I'll just tap that down. That's good right there. I'm not going to mess with it too much more. Now, let's see how we do on this side. And a lot of times, I would drill both eyes out at the same time. I know this has to be widened just like the other side was. I should have done that right from the get-go so that I'm ready to jump into this before you mix the putty and everything else. And make sure both eyes are ready to jump into the hole. Now, that is sitting up just a hair too high. So I need to go in and make that hole a little deeper. And it's not the width as much as it's, so I'll undercut just a little further back. Not much, just a little further back, just to let that sit in there better. Let's see what happens on this side. Now, the biggest thing you got to watch is not to put your finger on that you just did on that side, on this side, while you're working this side. Still has to go just a little bit more. I'm just a little too cautious here, but here we go. I'm going into the hole, and I'm not going deeper. I'm just circling around the inside of the hole, but I don't want to get wider because this is accepting the glass, the 6mm, perfectly. Okay, that looks pretty good. We're almost flush with the surface, which is not bad. And yeah, let's do it. So here we go. I'm going to knead this again with a little bit of water, just hopes that this will allow me to keep working it. A lot of times I'll get fresh stuff so I'm going to get a little more generous with the ball and save a little bit here just in case I need it. So the ball is a little bit bigger than a BB. And I'm going to turn around. Like I said, don't put your finger on that eye, which you have a tendency to do. I used to do that all the time. So I'm filling that up, and that putty's right on up to the top, okay? Now, I'm going to come in. I'm going to lay the eye right over what looks like the hole. And then you get your pencil, eraser side, and you push it in. Okay, see, and it oozes out. That's good. That's a good thing. Now, I'm going to tap that down. Just to make sure it's adhering to the surface, sort of attaching it or giving it a little bit of pressure. You can see it wants to move away sometime. So I come in and just flatten it there. You can do this with a spatula too, if you have one. You can do it with a lot of things. You can do it with a pick. And I just want it to be right up against the glass and on the surface around the eye, but not all over. You don't want this stuff to get out of control. So I'm going to come in with my finger just wet a little bit. I'm going to just put a little pressure all the way around, like so. Make sure I have some putty all the way around the eye, but close to the eye. Okay, see that? Now, like I said, I come in with the point, and I got a fairly sharp point. I'm going to come in this way, which is like splitting the eye, and come back. That opens it up. I'm going to push that down because it seemed like it just wants to lift. And then I'll come on this side, do the same thing. Now that lifted that portion, I'll wet the tip again. See if I could push that down. There we go. Now, I'm going to come in again. Feels though I got a little bit of putty that wants to lift, so I'm just going to press down a little bit. Some of it I'll put back because I need a little bit of material all the way around the eye. Okay? Now, here I come with a knife. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to take the excess off. I'm trying to get some material coming off the back end and then coming around the eye. Oop, I forgot something. Excuse me. The thing I didn't do is this. I need to get the point to expose all of the eye. Okay? And almost all of it. You're still going to have some putty right around on the inside here. But that's giving almost maximum exposure. Almost. Okay? Now we go in and we take the excess off away, but we still need to leave like a lid formation and some material outside here. I'm going to take the excess off here, and then I'll come this way with it. And I'm trying to shape this with the blade where I only take the excess off. And this looks pretty good right in here by itself. Then in the front, I got a little more than I want, so I take that off. And I got a little bit on the top here. Right here. Take that off. Now, before I get too far afield, I wet my finger and I just dab that sort of flat all the way around. Okay? Like so, and it sort of flattens it. Now, I'll come back with my pencil, wet the tip just a little bit. I'm moving this out again because you know I flattened some of it. I'm going to make the cut through here and the cut through here. Like so. Right there. A little bit too much right there. Take that off. So it has a membrane. It's hard to see, but I'm down to about here. This material right in here comes up and over. And I'm going to cut this off right here. And let's see, I'm going to flip the pattern over here. I don't know if I have that. Yeah, you can see that over here on my pattern. It has it on there. So for those who are following me with the pattern, I do have that on there. Now I'm going to try to just flatten this on the outside and take some of this off here. Just like so. And this right through here. This right through here. And then I got a little bit to do up front here. There's that other cut. I'll flatten it a little bit, then shape. Oop, that came right off. So here's where it may be getting hard already. That's what I worry about sometimes. So I'm just going to wet it, pat it down, run my pencil through there. And I think we got enough of a lid all the way around, both top and bottom. Okay, like so. Now let me. I think that looks good. This is like almost perfect. You can see this because there's a lot of darkness behind this one where it is on the other one. But let me explain something to you here. The eye is here. I'm going to explode this up a little bit. And then we have a cheek that comes up and around like this. And the beak's down here somewhere. Okay, where it goes out, and then shoots out this way. And this cheek actually comes up around like this. So I'm distorting this a little bit. So you're making this and this. You're putting in a lid that comes around the eye about like this, and then comes out and stops right here, and then you're coming this way and you're stopping right there, and then you're doing the bottom almost the same. Okay, I'm going to darken this just so you can see this a little bit better around the eye. And then this comes out this way. So you got a top and bottom that almost look the same. But remember, you got to come in with the point of a sharp pencil and just massage this back. to get full exposure so that you can see that pupil right in the middle there. And then you can see how much room you have around to the putty. And then start playing with the buildup around there. And that's what you're trying to achieve, okay? And this is your black pupil right in the middle there. So I hope this helped you. Hope you got this. And if you did, I'd ask you to give me a thumbs up on this. If you got any questions, which I can understand, fire away. I'm here to try to help you as much as I can. And I'm trying to show you some of the tools. I also use like a pick sometime. The pick gets in there and cleans up too. It depends on what you feel comfortable with. The knife blade, I don't use the blade because it wants to cut into the wood. I usually use the back side and drag it. But I also have spatulas, like something like this, and you can use that too. I have real thin ones like this, thinner than this, that I use as well. And you want to get an old brush. This isn't my best brush. This is not one you want to paint with, okay? This is sort of my mixer or just all purpose, because if the epoxy gets into this, it's going to stiffen up, and you don't want that. You don't want to use a good brush. Buy a very inexpensive brush to do what we're doing, to massage the epoxy. So hope you enjoyed this. If you did, I'd ask you to give me a thumbs up. If you could subscribe to my channel, I'd appreciate greatly. And this should do it on the eye. Like I said, here's the setup, and you can see it on my pattern here too. I have it on here, and there it is right there. So I hope you could see that well, and that's what I'm trying to achieve. And like I said, I would only mix just enough to do one side, even have a little extra like I did, and I got away with the other side. But this thing starts setting up. If you're having a hell of a time trying to do one eye, before you can get to the second eye, you might as well just throw this stuff away and start over again with a new fresh batch. And then that'll give you another, the material stays softer, and you can manage it better. And the softer it is, the easier it is to work with, okay? So hope you got something out of this, and I'll see you on the next video. We're probably going to be cleaning this up and then priming it, and I'll show you how to do that too, probably on the next video. I think I got everything else buttoned up on this, so I will explain that, and we'll go from there, and then we'll start priming. And we're almost starting to paint here pretty soon, so hope everybody got something out of it, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks a lot.